What's up, everybody? Coffee with Convicts. It's Irish, episode 3, I think. And this is gonna be my first day in prison. I'm skipping over a lot of, jail stories, funny stories, etc. They'll come out in the wash as the channel develops. But for now, I want to jump into a little bit about prison. So first, I'll start with the transport process, which is no fun. You never know after sentencing exactly when they're going to transport you. That's by design, for security reasons. So for my county, Collier County, we leave on Thursday night, Friday morning, and so they wake you up in the middle of the night and say, pack your shit. So I was ready effectively every Thursday night for that to be the night. And here came my first go. You go downstairs, you wait in booking for a while, and they get everybody down there and ready. And then you are shackled at the ankles and handcuffed next to the person next to you and loaded on a van in my county because it's not a huge group of people. I don't remember how many there was, but there's probably 8 or 10 of us or so. Yeah, so you're handcuffed to the person next to you. You have ankle bracelets on, anklets, let's say. And so, yeah, you're not going anywhere. And in the middle of the night, probably 3, 4 in the morning at this point, we drive across the state of Florida to Doral, which is greater Miami area, South Florida Reception Center. You arrive there in the early morning, get out at a big garage after passing through, 2 large gates with razor wire wrapped around them, and it's kind of daunting, although you can't see out from the van, except you really can't see out the van. So when you step out, you're in a garage, and you can see these big fences with razor wire, and it's like, okay, I have arrived. And then there is the reception process the first day, and it sucks. It really fucking sucks. It's probably your worst day in prison. I mean, as long as you don't get like raped or something like that. I don't have the words to describe how much it sucks. You haven't slept, so that is that factor. You get in, you're shuffled into this little area. You got to answer a bunch of questions about where you were born and blah blah blah, and all these intake questions from them. And then you're all huddled into a small room, the size of like a really large walk-in closet or something, maybe 12 by 15 or something, 12 by 20, something like that. And you're now there with other counties who arrive in the same day. So you're shoulder to shoulder next to a guy, and you're forced to strip down to nothing. You follow a long set of instructions from 2 officers. One of them is that you are not to bring your hands above waist level, or it will be perceived as a threat and dealt with accordingly, which it was. I saw a guy get knocked silly. I mean, it looked like he was dead. He was an old man that was nervous, and he brought his hand up too high, got yelled at for it, and while the officer was yelling at him in his face, he actually peed a little bit on the officer's boot. That officer didn't notice, but the other, even bigger one, did, and just crushed the guy. So I was like, whoa, all right. They will put their hands on us quickly. So yeah, you strip down, you gotta do the squat and the cough and run your finger around your mouth, and you wanna wipe your hair and head and all this stuff. Bunch of rigmarole. It sucks. And then from there you go to property. You check in your little tiny amount amount of property, paperwork, mail, etc. From there, you get a haircut kind of like this. And then you get your ID, and you get your clothes, and you get blood drawn, and you get pictures of your tattoos done, and you get an interview by a gang officer, and you watch a PREA video, which stands for Prison Rape Elimination Act. They tell you how not to get your booty taken, and probably missing a couple other things. Then they escort you to your dorm, which you kind of get situated, and shortly thereafter is chow, and then you get your first taste of the yard, mandatory yard in South Florida. So all of a sudden, boom, you're on this prison yard populated by a bunch of crazy convicts, and it was cool for me. I was fine with it all. I didn't talk to anybody. I just walked around prison yard by myself, and nobody messed with me or anything like that. But excuse me, I mentioned scouts in my last video, and for someone who didn't see it, it's someone who's kind of sent to you to test you and see what you're made of. So I brought a bunch of stamps with me. Stamps before the advent of tablets and email and jail. Stamps were like cash currency in there. So I brought a bunch of stamps with me from the county jail. I was able to meet up with somebody I knew on the yard and purchase coffee and cigarettes right away. So I went back to the dorm, and I managed to get a book, and I was laying mistakenly in my bunk face down with my head facing the back of the cell. So I was kind of blind to the door. I didn't have a bunkie. I was by myself in the cell at the time. And the guy comes, and now that I'm looking back, I have no idea if he was even a scout, if he got something that he didn't deserve whatsoever. But I was a young, green, nervous white boy. And anyhow, it was very odd what he did anyway. He came up, and instead of saying something or tapping me or what have you, he put his finger at the base of my foot and very weirdly rubbed up my foot, and that sent me into a seated position. And I looked at him and said, "What's up, man?" And he was an older black guy, probably 60 years old, Coke bottle glasses, real skinny, and he had a coffee cup in his hand. He says, "Hey, brother, I was wondering if I could get me a cup of coffee." And I was like, in my head, I'm like, number one, he touched me. And number two, he touched me in a weird way. Number three, he's probably a scout. So I had a floor locker. The floor locker's open. The red bag of Florida State Kiwi coffee was sitting right on top. So I stood up, and I said, "Yeah, man, it's right there. Go ahead and get you a cup." And he kind of looked at me a little funny. And I said, "Go ahead, get a cup." And as soon as he looked away and bent towards it, I just came across with my former right hook that I missed so badly. Knocked him cold, and I dragged him out onto the tier. You're thinking, what about the guards? No, they don't care. South Florida, somebody has to be dying for them to even make the phone call, and then they'll come in. So I screamed something like, "Hey, one of you might want to come get your boy," and left him laying there. And sure enough, a couple guys ran over and picked, "Hey, how are you? What's up?" And they took him off. And then one of the guys came back to my cell, and I thought, okay, here it is, what's up? And he's like, no, what's up? And I said, "Hey, man, dude touched me." And he asked for some coffee, so I did what I did, fuck away from me. And that was that. That was my first day in state prison. Can't think of much else. But the whole thing sucked, and continued to suck for that whole couple weeks. More on that to come later.